Mbukeli Sethembe usakujabuleleke futhi weneme ukuthi usahlezi nathi lapha ohlelweni Ekhaya Jikelele. Sibonge kakhulu ngomsuhlanganyele kanye nathi. Khona ke okade ebalisa ethi hey have kunzima ukusonta esontweni elilodwa nabazali. Uthe sashumayela umfundisi umzali uvela ubone sekuthumelela uWhatsApp esethi uyalizwa leli vesi lotshwala siphamandla kunini ngisho uyabona ubhalo ngisho naphansi awushintshe please shintsha please. Igama lohlelo ke Ekhaya Jikelele kanti elami nguNoxolo momtshalo komwali sibonga kakhulu Mbukeli kuba nawe la ngehora lethu lesibili.
Sibulele Mbukeli kwayibukho bakho. We don't take it for granted. Nakancinci singena ke kuyure yethu yesibini xa sijonga ke Mbukeli kwelinye lamanqaku eyure engaphambili sithe umbutho ye-ANC yawuthobela nomyalelo wenkundla wokuba inike i-DA amaxwebhu anenkcukacha malunga nokuchongwa kwamalungu e-ANC kwizikhundla zikarhulumente. Asikabibi ke ngenkqubo yanamhlanje ngoko ke bukela uzibonele uzivele pha ku-SABC lihaye napha ku-SABC Plus qiniseka ke Mbukeli into bangaba uphoselwe mhlambe bekhona apho bumaxhapheshe ubhizi ngako ungakwazi into kubana ungene kwikhasi lethu lika YouTube ujonge phana uthi SABC Ekhaya Jikelele. Ndimlo ke uNonkanyezi enomsantsa phakathi kwezinye uMadlongothi umazipha umamshukuma ozondwa ngezakhe izinto. Ndiyazalwa kaloku intombi yasematolweni umamchenga umabhanikazi ufumba lempongo liyanuka. Masijonge Mbukeli eziphala phambili kule yure.
After more than 3 years of determined lawfare activism by the DA, we have today succeeded in our quest to force the ANC to hand over cadre deployment records dating back to the period when President Cyril Ramaphosa was chairman of the Deployment Committee.
I-African National Congress igcine ihlinzekile i-Democratic Alliance ngemqulu equkethe imininingwane emayelana nokujutshwa kwamalungu alo iqembu elibusayo ePhalamende.
I think the one missing is obviously the Olympic Games. Not having gone in 2020, it's a big objective for the team. It's not about one individual, it's about the whole team. We have one goal, and that is to get to the Olympics.
Kwezemidlalo umqeqesho banyana uthi ukujoge ngabomvu ukudlala okanye ukudlala kwi-Olimpiki eliqela ke lezaqobisana neTanzania kumdlalo wokuzibekela indawo.
I-ANC isigcine iligobile uphondo yahlangabezana nomyalelo wenkantolo ukuthi ihlinzeke i-DA ngemqulu equkethe imininingwane yokujutshwa kwamalungu we-ANC ezikhundleni zikahulumeni. Lamaqembu achithe iminyaka emithathu egqiqa ezinkantolo eqophisana ngololu daba.
Isise yaphumelela imizamo ye-DA yokuthola imininingwane yokujutshwa kwamalungu e-ANC ezikhundleni kanti manje i-DA isizobhekisisa ukuthi engabe iyona yini lemininingwane.
After more than 3 years of determined lawfare activism by the DA, we have today succeeded in our quest to force the ANC to hand over cadre deployment records dating back to the period when President Cyril Ramaphosa was chairman of the Deployment Committee.
Umhlaziyi wezombusazwe uDokotela uFikile Vilakazi uchaze mayelana nesizathu ebesenza ukuthi i-Democratic Alliance ilokhu ifune njalo imininingwane yokujutshwa kwamalungu e-ANC ezikhundleni kahulumeni.
Just to remember why this case is an issue for the DA, the matter was brought to court to ask the African National Congress to reveal details regarding their cadre deployment policy. And the argument that the Democratic Alliance is making is that even if the ANC is a private organization, the cadre deployment policy does have effect towards the public.
Njengoba lolu daba selibese itebenze enkantolo ocisha iminyaka emithathu manje uDokotela uVilakazi uthi kufanele ngabe kadiphendulile kulolu daba iANC uqhubeke wathi ngokwakho ukubona imininingwane yokujutshwa kwamalungu ezikhundleni kahulumeni imqoka ngoba kuyenzeka amalungu athola izikhundla ngokungafanele. Umbuzo mile uthi ngabe izoculiseka yini DA ngayo lemininingwane.
Umongameli we-ANC Cyril Ramaphosa uthi i-ANC izawuqhubeka nokwenza umsebenzi yawuqala ngonyaka ka-1994. Lombutho keza kunikezela ngomqulu wezithembiso zolonyulo kumabala emidlalo iMoses Mabhida eThekwini ngomgqibelo.
Umongameli we-ANC Cyril Ramaphosa uthi njengoba iqembu lizokwethula umqulu wezethembiso zokhetho ngomgqibelo enkundleni Moses Mabhida uthi kuzomangala wonke umuntu njengoba lo mqulu wezethembiso zokhetho uzoletha inqubekela phambili kuleli. Uthi i-ANC izowahlula wonke amaqembu ezombusazwe.
Kulolu khetho osiya kulo i-ANC iwine lolukhetho iwadlule wonke lamapatinyana nalawa vumbuka izolo nabunini iwashaye wabekele eceleni.
Uthi kuningi osekwenziwe i-ANC kodwa kusekuningi okufanele ikwenze.
Impilo zabantu bethu sezingconywana noma singakafiki lapho sifuna ukuya khona.
Umengameli we-ANC Ramaphosa uthi i-ANC izozishaqa zonke izifundazwe ngisho isifundazwe i-Western Cape.
I-African National Congress izoba iphethe khona la e-KZN izawuphatha futhi nationally nakuwo wonke ama-province nase-Western Cape.
Ukunqoba-ke kweqembu kuncike kakhulu emagatsheni ngokubumbana kwawo. Ube esenxusa-ke abalandeli beqembu ukuba baphume ngobuningi bayogcwalisa inkundla iMoses Mabhida ngomgqibelo.
Ngomgqibelo-ke sithi masambeni ngobuningi bethu siyogcwalisa iMoses Mabhida. Sigcwalise iMoses Mabhida ishukume.
Ube wathi umkhankaso we-ANC ususezingeni futhi uyabonakala.
Inkulumbuso yaseGauteng uPanyaza Lesufi uthi inkqubo yokucinywa kwe-e-tolls kweliphondo izaqala ekupheleni kwenyanga ezayo. Esenza intetho yakhe yobume bephondo uPanyaza uthe urhulumente wephondo udibene nabaphathisa bezimali nothutho malunga nomba we-e-toll. Kubekho ulibaziseka ke ekuyekisweni kwenkqubo yorhafisa ephikisanayo kusukela oko kwabhengezwa ukuba iza kucinywa ngonyaka ka-2022.
Kulindeleke ukuthi sehle isibalo sabangasebenzi eNingizimu Afrika uma iStats South Africa isidalula izibalo zabasebenzayo nabangasebenzi zesigamu sesine sonyaka namhlanje kuseni. Inhlolovo eyenziwe iLabour Force ibonise ukuthi isibalo sabangasebenzi kuleli sehle ngo-0.7%. Lokho kusho ukuthi isibalo sabangasebenzi esigamini sonyaka wesithathu ngo-2023 sifinyelele ku-31.9%. Umbiko walenhlolovo ukhombise ukuthi sinyukile isibalo sokuqashwa kwabantu emkhakhweni yahlukahlukene ikakhulu kowezemali kanye nakwezolimo.
UMzantsi Afrika uzawuthi thaca ingxoxo zomlomo kwinkundla yobulungisa yamazwe ngamazwe namhlanje nanjengoko kuqhubeka ingxoxo malunga nolawulo lukaSirayeli kwimimandla yasePalestina ngaphezulu kweminyaka engama-50. Le ngxoxo iqale izolo abameli basePalestina betyhola uSirayeli ngocalucalulo.
Elinye lamaqembu asanda kusungulwa iChange Starts Now eliholwa uRoger Jardine lethule umqulu walo wezethembiso zokhetho eKliptown eSoweto izolo.
Abalandeli beqembu bethamele ukwethula komqulu wezethembiso zokhetho eWalter Sisulu Square. Umholi weChange Starts Now uRoger Jardine utshele ihlwe lezabalandeli ngalokho abazokubeka eqhulwini emaphuzwini alokho kwabazokwenza uma bengathatha izintambo kuhulumeni emva kokhetho.
Through these initiatives, we know that we can create up to 5 million new jobs and we can reduce unemployment by 37%. Over the course of the coming weeks and months, we will continue to talk to all stakeholders, experts and the wider public to refine this charter and to plot a new course for our country.
Uphinde wanxenxa nalabo abangomacapnakusale ngokuthi mababe ingxenye yokulungiswa kwezwe.
The rich in this country must make common cause with the poor in this country. The rich in this country cannot stand aside while we see this poverty. And so as we stand on the precipice of change, we are called to reimagine our nation's path forward.
Ubuholi beqembu buphinde badalula nokuthi sebusitholile nesiqiniseko esiqhamuka ku-IEC ngokuthi selibhaliswe ngokugcwele kukhomishana yezokhetho.
Ubuqhophololo lolunye lwenhlobo zolwaphulomthetho luphambili elizweni kwaye lukhokhelele kwelona nani liphezulu labantu ababanjwayo. Okukhuthizwe inhloko yeHawks Advocate Godfrey Libeya ngethuba ebebambe iqonga lokunikezela ngeenkcukacha-manani zamatyala aphandwe licandelo kwisiqingatha sesithathu sonyaka-mali ka-2023 noka-2024 ePitoli.
Uphiko lwama-Hawks lwethule izibalo zakamuva malungana nebanga eselihanjwe yilolu phiko uqinisekisa ukuthi abenzi bobubi babhekana nengalo yomthetho. Kulezi balo kuhlaluke ukuthi ukukhwabanisa kudla lubi njengoba bebecela emakhulwini amathathu ababoshelwe lobugebengu. Inhloko yama-Hawks iphinde yadalula ukuthi lolu phiko lubambisene nelokushaqwa kwempahla ku-NPA luthole imiyalelo yokushaqa impahla engabiza izigidi ezivile ema-36 zamarandi.
Fraud contributed the highest number of convictions with a total number of 63 convictions. Precious metals and diamond is the second highest with a total number of 45 accused persons that were convicted.
Lo mbiko uphinde wadweba isithombe esingesihle ngezibalo zokubulawa kwamaphoyisa njengoba engamashumi abulewe ngalesikhathi sonyaka. Kusenjalo ungqongqoshe wamaphoyisa uBhekicele ugcizelele ubumqoka bokuvikelwa kwamaphoyisa kuleli.
Criminals have declared war against the police. They don't care whether we're uniform or what, or a Hawks or what, they've declared war. So it's important that we understand that situation and we put an extra effort to protect one another, to protect yourself, but more than anything to protect the communities.
Iziphathimandla zithi ziqaphe ngesolokhozi ukushushumbiswa kwabantu kanye nabantu bokufika emingceleni yakuleli.
Ngaphambi kokuba uphume embukeli uye naphi na qiniseka into yokubana uxhobisekile ngokuqhubekayo kwisimo sezulu. Rhabula kodwa ungafinci.
Sikwamukele embukeli lapha ekhaya Jikelele sibonga kakhulu ukuthi usahlanganyele kanye nathi ake sibheke kwezemidlalo. Umqeqeshi wabanyana uDesiree Ellis uthi ezakhe seyisojade ngokuyibekisela indawo emidlalweni wama-Olympics ozobanjelwa eParis. Ibanyana isenkanjini ilungiselela umdlalo wayo wokuhlungela lo mqhudelwano lapho kuzobhekana khona nelaseTanzania ngolesihlanu ebusuku.
Abadlali abagijima kubanyana njengamanje benza kahle kule minyaka. Ngo-2022 ibanyana yanqoba isicoco sayo sokuqala sezwekazi futhi yakwazi ukuhlungela umqhudelwano wendebe yomhlaba okwesibili kulandelana. Leli qembu laqopha umlando ngenkathi liqoqisa iItaly ekleliswe phezulu. uDesiree Ellis ocija leli qembu uthi into elifunayo manje iqembu ukuthi lihlungele imidlalo yama-Olympics.
We have one goal, and that is to get to the Olympics, but it's all about this one game. We're not going to look any further ahead than that, otherwise we'll lose focus of the task at hand.
Ibanyana yagcina ukuhlungela owama-Olympics ngo-2016 kanti umengameli weSAFA uDenny Jordan uvumile ukuthi lizothola kanzima ila kuleli uma seligadulisana neTanzania.
It's going to be a difficult game, but we believe in this team. This team has shown over a period of time that they can produce when the pressure is on.
Umlenze wesibili uzodlalelwa enkundleni iMbombela eMpumalanga.
Supporters of Banyana Banyana, not only in Johannesburg, having consulted with the coach, it's also about, the conditions. We need to ensure that the conditions also, can favor our team other than, a team coming from Dar es Salaam that is closer to the coast.
Ukapteni weqembu Refilo Jan ngeke ahambe neqembu ngenxa yokulimala kwakhe. Leli qembu lizobe liholwa nguThembi Khadlana kanti futhi kuzobe kukhona nabanye abadlali abane abazinze phesheya kwelwandle.
Kwezebhola lombhoxo iqembu lakuleli iRugby Sevens iBlitzboks liyimisele ukuqeda ishobolo lokungenzi kahle emidlalweni ewuchungechunge yomqhudelwano iWorld Rugby Sevens kulamasizini ambalwa edlule. Sikhuluma nje iBlitzboks isithelekile eVancouver eCanada lapho iyoqala khona umkhankaso wayo wokubuyisa izinsuku zenjabulo kulomqhudelwano.
iVancouver izobuhamba losini kumdlalo wama-sevens futhi uzophinda uhlole ukuthi abadlali bayakwazi ukuhlela uhambo kanti ukudlala ukujwayela isimo sezulu kanye nesikhathi kubaluleke kakhulu.
The vibe was good. I mean, I think it was 30 hours in travel time. So yeah, we just got here. The guys are a bit fatigued. The jet lag will eat us later. But yeah, I think the Spurs is good.
Umqeqeshi wama-sevens uSandile Ngcobo uqinisa iqembu ngabanye abadlali.
Once you get left out of the team, you think a lot of stuff, but initially you realize that you actually your body actually needed, your mind needed, and it actually motivates you more to not get left out. But there was a reason because the tournaments are so on top of each other. There was a reason to rest some of the guys. So yeah, but you still think a lot. But for me, I think I'm happy that I was rested. Happy to be back, and looking excited to come on with some fresh energy.
iBlitzboks kumele izilungiselele iVancouver kanye neLos Angeles ngesonto elilandelayo. Leli qembu lihlala endaweni yesine kanti libambene ngamaphuzu neIreland.
Iqela loMzantsi Afrika libuyile ukhuphiswano lwehlabathi lweAthletics eDoha eQatar ngenjikalanga yayizolo. Inye kuphela ke indathe ekwazileyo ugqibezela iqonga kubuntshatsheli kodwa ke abaphathi beqela banelisekile inkqubela yembaleki phambi kwemidlalo yeOlimpiki eParis ngoJuly nangoAugust.
You've got to look at two things. You've got to look at obviously the podium performances, and you also have to look at the depth of the team. So from a depth of the team perspective, this is a good competition for us, and the young athletes are stepping up, so that's a very good sign. One of them broke the South African record, a very young lady of 19 years old, which is good. Tala Yonke broke the backstroke record, and Erin broke the Africa record in the 100 butterfly. So that was also good. So the results were mixed, but overall it's more positive than negative.
The mental side was probably the most important part. Like as I said, going into the 100, I just wanted to win. So I was just thinking, this is this is the moment. I'm getting my hand on the wall first, and that resulted in me forcing it a little bit. So my body was more tightened up, and I went out the first 50 0.3 slower than I did in the semi-final while trying way harder. So that really taught me, and I've learned this lesson before, but I've had to learn it again now. So I need to let it happen more and trust my body, because that's what I do every single day. So thinking too much can negatively affect or impact that.
Mbukela ke siqunga seyitoro sizobuya nje emva komzuzwana.
Usekela sodolopho esixeko saseTshwane uGqirha Nasiphi Moya uphehlelele inkqubo yokundwendwela indawo zokukhusela abantu abangenamakhaya emva kokuba eqale ngokundwendwela uRegion 1 noRegion 3 eTshwane. Injongo ke yolutyelelo ibikuqonda nzulu ngendlela lemibutho ilawula ngayo indawo zokuhlala kwaye ijonge ke nendlela esinokuthi isixeko sichase ngazo apho. Usekela sodolopho ke uthethe wenjenje ngethuba etyelele enye yendawo zokuhlala ePitoli ebizwa ngokuba yi-Youth for Survival.
Right now we're at our third stop for today at the Youth for Survival. The second stop we went for Youth Survival where they cater for men. Right now we are where they cater for women and children. A lot of activities happening, cooking for, we saw classes, computer classes, we saw ABET classes, the art classes that are happening here. There's a lot that is happening, but I think more than anything is appreciating the work that this leadership of this center is doing for the homeless. So where we're here now, we're just observing and also just understanding where the city can contribute and collaborate in the work that they do. But I think so far there's hope that at least there are people out there who care about the plight that is homelessness.
Ukuva banzi ke mbukeli ngale nkqubo sinxibana ngoZoom naye kusekela sodolophu uGqirha Nasiphi Moya. Gqirha Moya, masikubulise sikwamkele enkqubeni, sibambe kazibini ngokuba nathi ngeli xesha.
Molweni Kholosa and ndibulise nakubamamele emakhaya.
Inkosi kakhulu. Isixeko saseTshwane senza inzame zokusombulula umba wokuswela indawo zokuhlala, i-homelessness. Inkulu kangakanani le eTshwane?
Inkulu Kholosa, into esiyibonayo bana njeba singabantu sikwazi uba sicaphule kwi-rights zethu as abantu, Bill of Rights. We found that there are people in this country that are without even the basic, which is the adequate housing. So inkulu, so istate sisixelela ubana 18% yabantu abangenamakhaya balapha eTshwane. Ukho i-study ebesenziwe sisenziwa yi-University of Pretoria babale abantu by 4,177 apha eTshwane, and this was October 2022. So this is a big problem. You can't have South Africans in the thousands that are without, the decent rights that are enshrined in the Bill of Rights. So it's a big problem, and more than anything, Kholosa, ababantu abahlali kwi shelters. Actually, not even half of those people are in shelters. Basezidratweni. So I problem enkulu kakhulu apha eTshwane, and also not only ezidratweni but also kwi building as melba asihlali bantu. So yingxaki enkulu kakhulu for thina apha eTshwane.
Ingxaki enkulu kakhulu sentsho xa uzawuthi ngumyinge we-18% yabantu abangenamakhaya, and xa sithi siyajonga iTshwane idolophu nje kuphela kodwa i-18% inkulu kakhulu. Njengokusisho into yokubana kukho abantu abangenandawo zokufihla intloko abahlalisa kwezi shelters. Ndiyafuna uqonda into yoba ingaba ningumasipala niye nangenelela njani kwaye yintoni enithena beniyayenza?
Okokuqala so sinazo i-NGOs ne-NPOs esebenzisana nazo. So kwezo NPOs we've got i-memorandum of understanding. So kukho izinto apho iTshwane kwazi unceda khona. For instance, into sinazo i-buildings ezitshwane siye sizinike i-NPOs ne-NGOs uba zisebenzise for uba accommodate abantu aba-homeless. Okwesibini kukho i-food bank eTshwane, so siyesebenzela food bank ngokuba sibani ukutya to support umsebenzi abawenzayo. So i-province, Gauteng province, is also funding these NPOs, but obviously as eTshwane we do have an element of help that we do with them, but it doesn't only end there in terms of the partnership. There's also the support that we need to give to the NGOs. For instance, in terms of tariffs, abazibhatalayo eTshwane. Kodwa yes, so i-partnership yethu nezi NGOs i-based kwi-MOUs.
Mhle kakhulu umsebenzi eniwenzayo, ingakumbi xa nithe naqaphela into yokubana ninengxaki enongameleyo ni-City of Tshwane ye-homelessness. Siyafumanisa wena Gqirha into yokubana kwezi ndawo kuhlala ii-groups ezahlukeneyo zabantu abangenandawo eziquka ulutsha, abasetyhini namadoda kananjalo. Ungathi mhlawumbe xa niye nabe ne-consultation view zeziphi iimeko eziqhelekileyo ezikhokele ekubeni abantu bangabi nandawo yokufihla intloko?
Ndizawucaphula zibembini Kholosa. Okokuqala is the-economic challenges. So abantu abaninzi ebendithethe nabo kwi-site visit yam okokuqala basebenzi. So into ebangela uba bakhangele indawo yofihla intloko yobana ngenxa yoba bengasebenzi abakwazi uba even to rent or to buy property. So that's the first one. The second one is some of them will tell you they lost their businesses, especially during COVID. So in fact, one of the leadership of the organization, the Life Changing Project, one of the leaders there, he tells me he was in that homeless shelter for 14 months in 2021 because he lost his business. So you would think that homelessness, you're dealing with people who are don't know what to do how to do for it themselves. Yeah. But actually these are people who have encountered economic challenges. So that's the primary reason. And I mean, even when I was there, I met, young people who are qualified in IT, qualified in graphic design. In fact, when I was arriving, some of them were leaving for work. Yeah. So that's the first challenge. The second one, which is obvious, is the psychosocial challenges. Obviously, kwabantu abangasahlali nama nefamilies zabo, kwabantu abafumene problems ezidibene ne-drugs and substance abuse. So that's the secondary challenge that will lead people in that into that. In fact, one of the leaders in the other NGO, he tells me that the family life got so bad, he left in Mpumalanga and just headed to Tshwane. He was in the homeless shelter for more than a year. Now he's a house father. So it's not that these are people who are like total, they had no life before this. No, these are people that basically encountered life and they just needed a break, a place to hide their head, and while they are recovering in life. So those are two main challenges. I think in the main is the economic challenges which got my attention.
Hey, ibhlungu kakhulu because uyabona into yokubana nje ulife unpredictable. Namhlanje kunje ngomso kunje. Siyathemba into yokubana njengoko kuzawubanjwa ibudget speech eKapa lodumo naye uminister uzawukwazi into yobana ayi-address into yobana mhlambe ngephi inkxaso angathi ayinikezele kwi-issue ye-homelessness nokuqhokeka kwe-economy yalapha eMzantsi Afrika. Gqirha, njengoko uye wanentlanganiso nenkokheli ze-shelter apho benixoxa ngenzame zentsebenziswano ukuze kulungiswe oku, ingaba zeziphi indima okanye i-roles enthena bekanti nivumelana ngazo ukuba nizawuzidlala ningamaqela akule partnership? Kwaye njengosisho into yokubana phakathi kwabantu abakwezi shelters kukhona abantu abatsha ekubonakala ngathi banezakhono kwaye ba-qualified, ingaba mhlambe ngokubehleli kukhona apho nibancedisa khona ukulungiselela into yokubana baqeshwe nabo ngenye imini?
Ewe Kholosa. So okokuqala yobana as NGOs, it's important that we make sure that they've got the support from the city. They issue buildings that either they are leasing or that have been donated to them by the city. Obviously, we must make sure as the city those buildings are in good condition, and whatever certificates they need from the city, we support them through that so that they have, at least we make sure the buildings they occupy are fit for occupancy. Okwesibini kukho indaba ye tariffs. So obviously kukho amanzi, kukho umbane. So NPOs, they pay the same tariffs as abanye abantu nje. And one of the things they've asked me to lobby the city on is to look for an exemption in terms of that, because obviously their needs are different from an ordinary household. So that's one, the support that we must give them as an institution, which is the city of Tshwane. Secondly, which is the undertaking I made, is that exactly to the point you are making, the city of Tshwane has all these programs, economic development programs. We've got a mandate as an institution to create economic opportunities. And I have said from our side, we will share information. For instance, in my department, there's the expanded public works program. And most of those people would qualify in that program. So those are the things that we said we're going to look for, all the programs that talks about creating economic opportunities, and we'll make sure that that information is shared with the sector. And also, just you would understand that as the city, we actually don't have money, Kholosa, and it's a matter of public record. However, as the city, I have also made an undertaking that I'm going to facilitate fundraising. Luckily, bekuko philanthropist as well, which is the next step for me, where I meet with them so that we can ask how do we facilitate funders in order to support these NGOs. But of course, from the side of the NGOs and the sector, we do need them to avail their beneficiaries to us. So they've agreed to say, listen, some of them we will advise which ones are ready, which ones are not ready, especially on the psychosocial challenges. Those ones, sometimes they're not ready for these opportunities, but we will avail the database. So those are the things that we have agreed on to say, can we start tracking those things between the city of Tshwane and the sector.
Kuyabonakala into yobana kwezingxoxo niye nabanazo ikamva liqaqambile. Ndiyafuna uqonda gqirha into yokubana nizawuqinisekisa njani into yokubana zonke izinto eniye nazithi thaca etafileni zizawuhamba ngempumelelo uqinisekisa into yokubana i-dignity yabantu baseTshwane ibuyela kubo.
So into eyenza lo msebenzi belula Kholosa, i-sector is very organized. So they've got a Tshwane Homelessness Forum where all these NPOs participate in. There's academic support to this work. So in the form of research, the University of Pretoria is the one who actually commissioned one of the studies that I was referring to earlier. So this sector is very organized and there's a lot of people who want to help. So what we have agreed on is that we met last week, Thursday. I said they must give me 2 weeks to, also just touch base with my own colleagues to get some of the answers. But we should be meeting in the next 2 weeks where we give each other, feedback on what we have agreed on. But I think, Kholosa, more than anything, it's encouraging to me to find a sector, especially for such a mammoth task, a sector that's organized. They are already doing something, even though they don't have all the resources that to assist them with their help, with their work. So what I have assured them is that whatever the city can do, it will be done. Of course, we must then say which one is in the short term, mid-term, and long term. But we also have a policy as the city of Tshwane, Kholosa. So it's not that we're starting from scratch.
Okay.
And this policy is centers around how do we make sure that everyone who is in the city of Tshwane has access to the city in all the resources and the services that the city offers. And obviously, we're not treating the homeless sector as if it's something that's outside our mandate. The city of Tshwane has accepted that taking care of the homeless is also part of our mandate. So we will then track and have these frequent meetings to follow up on our commitments.
Qaba nje gqirha Moya ndiyafuna uqonda mhlambe uba ngaba kukhona umuntu osibukeleyo ekhaya athi hey mina ingathi ndisele ngaphandle mhlambe andinakhaya ndililolo into engenabani ndiyafuna nami into yokubana ndixhamle kwezi programs osandula uthetha ngazo ingephi mhlambe indlela abangathi baqhagamshelane nani kwaye ndiyafuna uqonda noba mhlambe ngumsamariyo olungileyo uyeva into yokubana uyatsho into yokubana kukhona ukushokoxeka kwemali. That's why niqonda into yobana manifacilitate ne-fundraising. Ingaba mhlambe nabo xa befuna ukubeka loo nto baqhagamshelana njani nani?
I think indlela elula yokuqhagamshelana nathi kuza through the city landline. But also my email address, I can give you my Tshwane email address because obviously I can facilitate the conversation from there, which is nasipm@tshwane.gov.za. Then I will facilitate whatever request I'm getting.
All right. Enkosi kakhulu gqirha mhle kakhulu umsebenzi eniwenzayo wokubuyisela isidima kuba kubhlungu kakhulu into yokubana ungabi nakhaya. Siyathemba into yokubana kwezinzame nezinkqubo nizimilisayo uzawuhamba ngempumelelo. Enkosi kakhulu ngokuba nathi.
Enkosi Kholosa.
Right, mbukeli we-Ekhaya Jikelele lo ke ebesithetha naye ibingusekela sodolophu wesixeko waseTshwane ugqirha Nasiphi Moya ebethetha nathi ke ngongenelelo lwesixeko kwisibetho sokuswela amakhaya kwesi sixeko. Masiqhubeke mbukeli sibhatala amatyala qiniseka ugungqe sabukele inkqubo yakho oyithanda kunene igama lenkqubo Ekhaya Jikelele.
Siphinde sikwamukele mbukeli lapha ekhaya Jikelele sibonga kakhulu-ke ukuthi usahlanganyele kanye nathi. uDibongs Mahlathi uveza ubuciko bakhe ngokudweba inhlobo ngeinhlobo zobuciko eyindongeni emgwaqeni esentshonalanga yeGoli. Waqala-ke ukuzibandakanya nalolu hlobo lobuciko ngonyaka u-2008 ngesikhathi efika lapha eGoli ukuzoqhuba izifundo zakhe zemfundo ephakeme. Uthi-ke uyayavuke usinga aphuphuma ukuzethemba ngalo msebenzi wakhe. Ukhona-ke mbukeli lapha estudio 12 SABC uDibongs ukuze ke sokuxoxisana naye mayelana nalo msebenzi wakhe. Tibonga sasikubingela sikamkele Ekhaya Jikelele.
Sisinoxolo njani?
Siyaphila wena njani?
Ngiyaphila.
Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi uzosivakashela namhlanje.
Ngiyabonga ukuthi ni man.
Ngiyabona lama ngifunda ukuthi wafika la ngo2008 uzofunda. So sengicurious ukuthi wawuzofunda iarts or uzofunda something else?
Cha, actually bengizofunda HR. Because iyo kuphela into bebayifunda for me at that time. So bengifunda AUJ. So when I got there, mangifika ngithola there's another side to University. That's totally different. A father, they have an art library, they have artists, people who just look weird. And somewhat I fell in love na Leo look and feel. And also being around Egoli, just started to see walls, big walls, and people who are painting them. So it's a curiosity in me to say, what is this? Because Langbuakon, I've never seen this. I usually just know people about Roy Mapepeni, and that I never really liked it. So yeah, I think just getting to Evacity and then seeing that totally different side of what tertiary was about. Yeah, it got me.
So waqala ukubona lo msebenzi etertiary, and then ilapho wabona nakhona futhi ukuthi no, you actually have the talent.
Yeah, that's where I fell in love with it. And then logo ngizama ngiyabona ukuthi ukhona olukhona, and like I really wanted to do it. So being attend a festival, just seeing different artists, I think I became a fan before I could actually do it. So I got to find out everything. I did my research, I read books, I watched videos. So I never got to study art, but I made sure that I equipped myself with it.
So ngiyabona ke Dibonga ukuthi ke lemdwebo yakho mikhulu, like angubona nje omncane la kule njengoba sibuka nje la screen lelo kivela awukho omncane mikhulu imbalabala. Engabe enye into futhi ngibuza yona ukuthi okay ngoba udweba eindongene emabhilidini njalo njalo kuye kufuneka mhlawumbe uhambe uyocela imvume permission ukuthi ngisacela ukudwebala le build or uvela uyibone le build nje ushone khona ukuthi upende wabanjani angishone khona.
So it depends. So I'm called lento bayibiza graffiti artist. So siphiwe kulento le scout. So zabona mhlambe an abandoned building, so you know nobody owns it. So that one and just make it beautiful for the people. And if it's like working with like a brand or if it's a corporate commission, then everything has to paperwork wise it has to align. So yeah, ngithanda into enkulu because of the impact that it has kuabantu. And as you can see, like I love painting like black people. So ngithanda ukuthi abantu bethu bazibone in a bigger form, in a bigger stage, bigger than who they are.
Ngiyabona lapha khona nanga umkhulu Desmond Tutu, khona AKA ngiyabona ubuse imhlongo lo esimbona manje. So indawo ehlukahlukene lezi odweba kuzo ngiyazi ukuthi futhi khona nasi. Yes, wadweba ugogo Esther Mahlangu. Like tell me about that, because ngiyazi ukuthi usanda kuhlonishwa futhi lapha kwiZiko Museum. I mean, now she's also doing amazing things when it comes to indaba zokudwe art njalo njalo.
I think into art we like honoring people masiba on the other side. So with me, Bengithi, like Ugogo has done so much for us as artists. Nemoto Ependa 1985 is the first time he figured for South Africa, BMW. So there's just a lot happening. So I figure this morning, or anything, I just got up and I figured, I don't know if he Epiphany or in, and I just went to Tatale Bonda and I wanted to do something for her. And initially I was gonna go small, but I was like, why not? She's larger than life. She's done so much. She's done big things. And other artists, yes, they've honored her, but I wanted to honor her in a public space, in a space where it's not about me profiting or anything, but it's just about me adorning her on a wall that's gonna hopefully be there forever.
So kukuphi nje laphana odwe khona ugogo Esther Mahlangu?
Kusemaboneng. Yeah, it's a hub of artists and just people from different walks of life. And yeah, I felt like that's the perfect spot because all cultures, all traditions abantu bakhona lapha.
So Dibonga, yini into esebenzisayo mhlawumbe uma ngabonza lama paintings akho, like for example sona lo mdwebo logogo Esther Mahlangu, like usebenzisa ini mhlawumbe kukhona uthi okay ngoba ugogo Esther Mahlangu, let me use special something that I don't normally use kwamanye ama paintings.
So I use the spray paint. So I use the paint, I scrape the wall, make sure that it looks good and fresh, paint it, and then using a spray paint some. But with this one I also use it lays, so I vanished it. It lasted even longer than
special gogo is. So nginesiqiniseko sokuthi nje naye uyothi mayisayibona ayithokozele. So ungathi nje yini ngoba nawe uyasho ukuthi uma ufika ufune uqala uklina ubonda, uluhuhle njalo njalo. Yiziphi nje ingqinamba ibhekana nama artists nje like day to day?
Day to day, kulomkhakha wami wasestradeni. It's firstly safety. Because you never know what you're behind you, so you need to was your environment, you know what you're and just everyday struggles as an artist. Sometimes people don't understand it. So because you go level your education, you're still educating the people. I think that's also why I like painting in public, because I want to bayaza bakulumanami. Usually it's how do they get into it and be able to exchange information. How do I take it forward? Do I need to study? So even interaction, engage in the street. So I think that's really why I love. Yes, kuna my challenges here and there, but I mean everywhere.
Everywhere, I think the biggest thing is to overcome them and have strategies on how to overcome them. So xoxela mina ukuthi ke so ungakwazi ukuyiphilisa ngalokho kudweba like then uma uhamba uyodweba ngiyazi ukuthi mhlawumbe abanama museum whatever ngadweba ama paintings wabeka museum abe nama gallery openings kuzobuka umuntu athenge ipainting. So with regards to mural paintings like these, like how do you then make your money?
This is the only thing that I do on a daily basis. So I'll go Ntolibonda, paint it, and post it on my social media. So my social media is where my business platform is. I don't post selfies or anything. I just post that and share it to the world. And somewhat I get clients from it. I get brands. I've worked with numerous amounts of brands. I get to travel. Been to like 10 countries doing what I do. Wow. So it's just a matter of just making sure that my presentation, it looks good. It's appetizing to the people, and I show them what they can actually get out of what it is that I do, because it's the one way to engage with people and to get people to see the process from beginning up until iphelele.
Ngiyabona lapha na painting ga Ricky aka njalo njalo. So uyawazi yini Dibongs ukuthi mhlawumbe like privately, like if ngithi nje nginobonda kwami because kukwami ipermission sengivumile uzongenzele garage lami for example ngifuna ungenzele a beautiful piece yami for example or my family njalo njalo.
So with me, because of luckily sengine demand manje, so I try to work with other artists. So mangibendibona I'll get like another artist ngimbonise how I do things. So with house calls, I'm house calls, but then the guys that I work with, I believe that I've shared my skills so much that they can also do what I can do, because that's what I want. So with them, like I'm a family portraits, I'm a family portraits, I'm a house calls, and then others they do like stuff a studio and their own thing. With me, I've chosen only nama brands and do corporate commissions and then do community developments with the leftovers.
Ubonga cha muhle kakhulu umsebenzi wakho and nje muhle safisa ukubona. So abantu babefisa ukubona more of your work, babone amanye ama pieces oyenzile ngaphandle kwala esiwavizile mhlawumbe how do they interact with you, or mhlawumbe nje ozothi nje I need a mentor nami ngiyadweba just nje ukunike advice inyana 1 bangakuthola kanjani?
Get a hold of me on my social media. Instagram, Dibongs_1. Go Facebook, Dibongs Mahlati. And TikTok, Nakon Young Tall. So you can just DM me and then we can talk about it further. And then you go pay my email and then get the conversation going.
Dibongs, sifisela konke ukuhle ngathi ungaqhubekela phambili ke nomsebenzi wakho omuhle. Sibonga ukuthi uzilo uzosivakashela la ekhaya Jikelele. Ubani nje baza ngithiwe wona bengingazi mina ukuthi uvela uyosukela indoka nje uyodweba. Kodwa namhlanje sengiyazi and I can't wait. Yabona sengizothi mangihambe mabone nami ngiqalaza ukuthi mase ngibona ngithi nangu Dibongs uyena owenzela phela. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Umbokelilo-ke bekubongani Mahlathi ozibiza ngoDibongs, yena ke uyiciko ubesivakasheleke lapha ekhaya Jikelele ukuze azoxoxisana kanye nathi ngohlobo lomsebenzi wakhe wobuciko. Asiqhuke ke 8 lo mbukeli siyabuya emva komzuzwana.